Love didn't conquer distance. We did, one video call and plane ticket at a time. 10 months later. The lighting is terrible, I said, adjusting my laptop screen for the third time. Can you see me properly? Cayman's laugh filled my Seattle apartment through the speakers, warm and familiar even across 8,000 miles. I can see you perfectly. Stop fussing. It was our daily video call, scheduled for 7 a.m. my time, 7 p.m. his. One of the many small adjustments we'd made to keep our relationship alive across continents and time zones. Some days it was easy, chatting over morning coffee while he ate dinner. Other days, like today when I was exhausted from a freelance photography job and he was dealing with his own work stress, it felt like we were trying to hold on to something that kept slipping through our fingers. How was the wedding shoot? He asked, settling back in his chair. Behind him, I could see the familiar chaos of his apartment. Photography books stacked on the table, a recent development, the orchid his grandmother had given him, the postcard from Emma's latest adventure pinned to the wall. Exhausting. Beautiful but exhausting. The bride changed her mind about the location 3 times, and it rained during the ceremony. I rubbed my eyes. But I got some good shots. The kind that might actually pay the bills this month. That's great. I'm proud of you. The simple words made my chest warm. In the 10 months since I'd left Thailand, Cayman had become my biggest supporter in ways I'd never expected. When I decided to pursue photography seriously, he'd been the one to encourage me to quit job hunting and focus on building a portfolio. When I'd had my first real client, he'd stayed up until 3 a.m. his time to help me edit photos and calm my nerves. What about you? How did the tour group from hell end up? Surprisingly well, he said with a grin. Turns out the woman who was complaining about everything was just nervous about traveling alone. Once I figured that out, she became one of the easiest clients I've ever had. You're getting better at reading people. I had a good teacher. The reference to Emma made us both smile. She'd been back to visit twice since that first festival night, each time bringing updates on her increasingly successful photography career and pointed questions about our relationship status. Speaking of Emma, Cayman continued, she wants to know if you're still planning to come for the Eping Festival next month. My heart did that familiar skip it always did when we talked about my visits. I'd been back to Thailand twice since leaving. Once for 2 weeks in March, once for a month over the summer. Each visit had been incredible and heartbreaking in equal measure, full of the joy of being together and the pain of knowing I'd have to leave again. I want to, I said carefully. The client payments should come through next week so I can afford the ticket. But I don't know if I can handle another goodbye. The last one nearly killed me. Cayman's expression softened. We talked about this before, the emotional toll of the constant arrivals and departures, the way our relationship existed in these intense, compressed visits followed by months of screens and time differences. I know, he said quietly. It's getting harder for me too. So what do we do? Keep doing this until one of us breaks? Find a way to be in the same place permanently? Accept that maybe this isn't sustainable long-term? The questions that had been haunting me for weeks spilled out before I could stop them. Because as much as I loved Cayman, as much as I believed in what we had, the practical reality of our situation was becoming harder to ignore. Actually, Cayman said, and something in his tone made me look at him more closely. I've been thinking about that. About what? About us. About the distance. About finding a way to be in the same place permanently. My heart started hammering. What do you mean? I mean I applied for a tourist visa to the US. I stared at him through the screen, sure I'd misheard. You what? I applied for a 6-month tourist visa. I want to come to Seattle, see if I can figure out a way to make it work there. At least temporarily. Cayman, I stopped, overwhelmed by the magnitude of what he was saying. That's huge. Are you sure? I'm terrified, he admitted. But I'm also tired of missing you. I'm tired of living my life in 3-hour video calls and counting down days until the next visit. What about your family? Your work? Your whole life there? My family wants me to be happy. My work? He shrugged. I can guide tourists anywhere. And my life isn't complete without you in it. The simple honesty of it took my breath away. When? The visa should come through in the next few weeks. I was thinking I could arrive in early December, stay through the spring. Give us a real chance to see what this looks like when we're in the same place for more than a few weeks. And if it works? Then we figure out the next step. Maybe I apply for a work visa, maybe we explore getting married. Married? The word came out as a squeak. Cayman's smile was soft and real. Not tomorrow. But eventually, maybe. If you want that. I want that, I said without hesitation. God, I want that so much. Good. Because I love you and I'm tired of loving you from a distance. I love you too. But Cayman, are you sure about this? Moving halfway around the world is a big risk. So is letting you go, he said simply. And I've tried that once. I don't want to try it again. The reference to our fight before the festival made my chest tight. We'd both grown so much in the months since then, learned how to communicate across distance and time zones, how to support each other's dreams even when we couldn't be physically present for them. What can I do to help? I asked. With the visa stuff, with planning, with anything? Just be ready to show me Seattle. And maybe help me figure out how American taxes work. I laughed, the sound coming out shaky with relief and excitement and pure joy. I can do that. Good. Because I'm coming to find you, Ryan Mitchell. And this time I'm not leaving. 3 weeks later. I'd been to Seattle-Tacoma Airport dozens of times, but never like this. Never standing in the international arrivals area with flowers, jasmine, because I'd wanted something that would remind him of home, and a heart that felt like it might explode from anticipation. Cayman's flight had landed 20 minutes ago. Any moment now, he would walk through those doors with 2 suitcases and a 6-month visa and the promise of figuring out our future together. Ryan. I turned and there he was, looking tired and rumpled from the long flight but smiling like he'd just won the lottery. The same warm brown eyes, the same crooked smile, the same person who had turned my world upside down in a temple courtyard 8 months ago. Hi, I said, suddenly shy. Hi yourself. And then I was moving, crossing the space between us in 3 quick steps and pulling him into my arms, breathing in the familiar scent of his cologne mixed with airplane air and the promise of possibility. You're here? I whispered against his neck. I'm here, he confirmed. For 6 months, maybe longer if you can stand me. I can stand you. Good. Because I have plans. What kind of plans? The kind where we wake up in the same bed every morning. Where we cook dinner together and fight over what to watch on Netflix. Where we figure out what forever looks like when you're not constantly saying goodbye. I pulled back to look at him, this man who had rearranged his entire life to be here with me, and felt something that had been knotted tight in my chest for months finally relax. I love you, I said. I love you too. Now show me this city of yours. I want to see everything. As we walked toward baggage claim, Cayman's hand warm in mine, I thought about the journey that had brought us here. From that first moment at the airport in Chiang Mai to temple mishaps and cooking disasters to lantern festivals and heartbreaking goodbyes to video calls and visa applications, and now this, him here in Seattle ready to build something real and permanent and beautiful. It hadn't been easy. Long-distance relationships never were. But we'd made it work through patience and compromise and the absolute certainty that what we had was worth fighting for. By the way, Cayman said as we waited for his luggage, Emma sends her love. She also wants to know if we're planning a Seattle wedding, because apparently she has opinions about venues. Emma has opinions about everything. True. But in this case she might be onto something. I looked at him sharply. Are you proposing to me in an airport baggage claim area? Not yet, he said with a grin. But ask me again in 6 months. The carousel started up, and we watched for his distinctive black suitcase among the dozens of identical bags circling endlessly. Normal couple activity, the kind of mundane moment that somehow felt like the most romantic thing in the world. There, Cayman pointed. The one with the bright orange ribbon. I grabbed his suitcase, hefting it off the carousel. What did you pack in here, Rox? Thai curry paste. About 20 pounds of it. I figured you'd want the authentic stuff. 20 pounds? My grandmother insisted. She's convinced American grocery stores don't carry the real thing. The image of Cayman's tiny grandmother carefully packing curry paste for her grandson's American boyfriend made my heart do gymnastics. I can't wait to cook with it, I said. I can't wait to cook with you. I can't wait for all of it, he replied. The cooking and the fighting and the making up and the boring grocery store trips and everything else that comes with actually living together. Even the boring parts? Especially the boring parts. Those are the ones I've been missing most. As we walked through the terminal toward the parking garage, I felt like I was floating. 6 months. 6 months of Cayman in my apartment, in my city, in my everyday life. 6 months to prove that love really could be enough, that 2 people who wanted something badly enough could make it work regardless of visas and geography and all the practical obstacles that stood in their way. Welcome to Seattle, I said as we stepped outside into the Pacific Northwest drizzle. It's perfect, Cayman said, tilting his face up to catch the rain. It's absolutely perfect. And looking at him, this man who had traveled 8,000 miles to be with me, who was standing in the rain with his arms spread wide like he was embracing the whole impossible adventure of us. I had to agree. It was absolutely perfect. 6 months later, Emma would get her wish about having opinions on our wedding venue. But that's another story, one that starts with a ring hidden in a box of Thai curry paste and ends with two men who decided that sometimes, if you're brave enough to bet everything on love, you might just win the jackpot. For now, it was enough to drive through the rain-soaked streets of Seattle with Cayman's hand in mine, pointing out landmarks and planning all the ways we were going to build a life together, one ordinary, extraordinary day at a time. Love didn't conquer distance. We did.